Welcome to Let's Talk, where we teach, help, analyze, work smart, and collaborate on ideas and tasks. We'd like to thank you for subscribing to our social media channels and registering to get this free course that is part of our Learning MS Excel online course. Stay tuned until the end of the video to know about the courses we offer.
Hi, we're going to discuss right now functions in MS Excel, and what we have here would be a list or categories of some of the functions that we will be discussing. What I will tackle right now would be time and date, or date and time. And what we have here are the following functions. We have today, now, date, date value, network days, networkdays.intl, workday, workday.intl, week number, and then end of month. So for us to be able to discuss it, we have to make use of our spreadsheet. So what I have here are a list of functions that I've mentioned earlier. And then these are the syntax, or what a function does, and how it should be used. And here you will see how the formula was written. And in this column would be the sample usage of the functions that I will be teaching you. So let's start with today. So here, the syntax would be equal sign, today, open and close parentheses. No cell references needed. You don't need to put anything in between the parentheses. It will just return the current date formatted as date. So let us do that. Let's type in today, open and close parentheses. Then you will see there April 29, 2020. So this is how it was written. Now, this is a, let's say, a live or an active formula. So if ever you are editing this between 11:59 p.m. and 12:01 a.m., this result will change. So if I am editing this at 11:59 p.m. of April 29, and I am suddenly editing and then I pressed enter on this spreadsheet, this will change to April 30, 2020. So again, since this is still a formula, it will just be giving you the current date of that particular time that you have created or have entered the formula. Now, if I do it today, and then I close the file, and I will open this file 5 days from now, if this is still in its if this is still entered as a formula, then the date that will result, or the date that will come out, would be the date 5 days from now. So that's what I mean. It will not be stamped on the day that you have created it. So for it to be stamped, if you want it to be a date stamp, then all you need to do is you copy it and then you paste it as values. So paste special and then values. Now this will give you a serial number. So you just change the format and make it a short date. So this one, even if you keep on entering, or you just edit the file, this will no longer change because it has already been pasted as a value. Now, other ways of using the day-to-day would be, making it as a using it as a header. So what do I mean by that? Sometimes when you create a report, you just put a header as of today, but you want to put in the date today. So how do we do that? You just type in equal sign and then enter the text as of, put a space, and then close parenthesis, and then you use ampersand to join the text and the formula. Now, if I just enter the formula for today, it will result to this one, as of 43950, because this one is a serial number. So we have to make some changes in order to bring out the date. So we will be making use of the function text. So let me just type in text, and then what would be the value? The value would be the date today, and then followed by, let's say I want it to come out as full name of the month. So that would be April. So let us type here MMMM and then space and then the date followed by a comma and then followed by the year presented by four numbers and then close it with a close quotation and then the parenthesis. So this would result to as of April 29, 2020. And this is how it was entered. So as of followed by ampersand and then text and then today and then four M's plus space and then D followed by a comma and then Y. If I want it to change and I want it to appear this way, then all I need to do is just type in M, uh, MM followed by the slash, followed by the date, followed by the year. So let me just take this out and then press enter. So, oh, let me change that. It should be slash instead of parenthesis. All right. So that's how you can enter a header as of today. And again, like what I've mentioned earlier, if you save it today and then open this file tomorrow, the date or the header will now change to as of April 30, 2020. All right. So now next, formula or the function we have here is called now. And again, similar to today, there is no cell reference needed. It will just return the date, the current date and time formatted as date and time. So let me just put here now. So when I put now, it gave me the time or the date April 29, 2020, and the time is at 3:46 a.m. Now, similar to the today function, this will keep, since this is a live or this is an active formula, it will change every time you press enter or every time you trigger a file to calculate. So what do I mean by trigger a file to calculate? As every time you press enter, it just tells the file to calculate for all the formula present in the file. So it's already at 3:46. If I press enter, it will remain the same because a minute has not passed yet. But if I enter later on, it will give me, you know, a different time. Now, if I want to make a timestamp similar to what I have put here, then all you need to do is copy the file and then um, you just paste it as values. So like this. So like in this case, it's still at 3:46, but since I pressed enter and this is a live or an active formula, it already became 3:47. So if you're going to make use of now as a timestamp, you just have to make sure that it's going to be pasted as values because every time you press enter, that formula or that result will change. So please take note of that. Now, the next formula or the next function that we have is the date function. It returns the number that represents the date in MS Excel date time code. So the syntax would be the date, year, month, and then the date. So here we can type, let's say I want to bring out the date from 2020 fifth month on day 15. So when you enter it that way, date 2020, comma 5, comma 15, it will come out as May 15, 2020. All right. You can also change this into a different date formula. You just have to go to date. Let's say I want it to be represented this way. So it's going to give out Wednesday or the day rather, the day, the day name and then the day, the month, and then the year. So if I do it that way, you just need to change the date format. Now, another way of doing it would be making use of cell references. So here I have a cell reference. I have here the year 2020. I have month 5 and then day 1. So I can also make use of the cell references. So I just type in date and then click on M12 followed by a comma, then click on N12 followed by a comma, and then O12, and then use the close parenthesis, and then it will give you the date May 1, 2020. Now, why do we need this? How are we going to use this? Sometimes when you have reports, there are days that are segmented and that you need to put them together. So this would be the formula or the function to use. So if there are certain periods that are segmented, you are aware of the date, of the year, the month, and the day. You can put them all together. Okay, so the next one that we have would be the date value, and it is followed by the date text. It converts a date in the form of a text to a number that represents the date in MS Excel date time code. So what would be an example? Now, I have put here a note or a comment that says general format. Now, when we make use of this function, the date value, it will give us the serial number. So let me just make an example. So the formula to use would be date value. And again, like what's mentioned, it needs a date in a text format. So let me just put here 5/6, or that's May 6, 2019, followed by close quotation, and then press enter. So here, this is the formula that I've written, but it gave out a serial number. So what I need to do, just to show you that it will give out the same result, I just copied the formula, but this time, this column is in the date format. So see here, it's in the date format. So putting in 5-6-2019 will give me the date value, May 6, 2019. So another way of doing it is here I have sample dates. I have here July, 5 July. Again, it is in its text format. You can see that there's an apostrophe in front. This one is 2018 11/30. So again, that's in a text format. So what I can do here is type in date value, use M15, and then another one would be date value, and then go to M16. So again, these are in its general format, or it's in a serial number, and this one is formatted on date format. So we will just type here date value. There we go. So it will give you the date format that you would want to appear. So that's how we are going to use the date value. Now, the next one that we have is network days. So network days returns the number of whole days between two dates. Now, sometimes when we look for the difference, or when we look for the number of days between two dates, what we normally do is we just, subtract it. Let's say the end date minus the start date. And that's the number of days that we will have, or that would be the result of just subtracting the start date from the end date. But what we want to do is return, get the number of whole days between two dates if there are holidays. So what do we mean by that? Sometimes in reports, you want to know what would be the number of business days between two dates, and you want to take out the rest days, and you want to take out the holidays. So this would be the formula to use, because using the one that I did earlier, subtracting start date from end date, will just have you count the number of holidays manually and then subtract it from that original result. So how are we going to use network days? what we will do is just type in the equal sign, type in network days, and then the start date. So here it's January 1, and then followed by a comma, and then the end date. Now, if I'm going to do that and not put in the holidays, I will have 98 days between um, January 1 and May 15. Remember when we did this earlier without using network days, it resulted to how many days? That's May 15 minus January 1, and that's 135. So this still includes the rest days and the holidays. So we know now that the net work days is at 98. Now, if you notice, the syntax here is start date, end date, and then followed by holidays. Whenever you see an argument that is put in between brackets, that means that you have an option on not to include the holidays or not to include that particular argument, and the formula or function will still work, like what I did here. So I did not put any holidays, or I did not reference the list of holidays that I have, so it gave me 98. Now, what if I want to make use of the list of holidays and I really want to know how many work days there are between the two dates and I want to take out the holidays? So I have here a list of holidays for the year 2020. So what I'm going to do here is make use of the holiday argument. So here I will type network days, then go to the start date, followed by a comma, followed by the end date, followed by the comma, and then highlight the list of holidays. You just need to highlight the dates. Okay, no need to highlight the days or the name of the holiday. Just need to highlight the date, the date list of the holidays, and then close it with a close parenthesis. So now you will have 93 as your net work days. So what was the difference? Because it did not count January 25 because it is already a Saturday or a weekend. So it just took out Feb. So we have here um, May. So we have it took out this one, April, April 10, and May. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and January 1 because it fell on a Wednesday. So these are the 5 dates. Let me just highlight it. These are the 5 days, or this is the difference why we resulted to 93 instead of a 98. Now the other ones, April 11 and January 25, both fell on a weekend or a Saturday. That's why it did not take it out from the number of days that we have. So that's how you can use network days. Now again, how do you use, or where can you use network days? You can use that when you want to know the turnaround time or turnaround period when you provide, let's say, a service, or you want to know the delivery time between two dates. This is normally used for logistics or inventory, or sometimes when you have deadlines placed at work or at school, then you make use of network days. Now, let's proceed to networkdays.intl. So this is similar to network days. The only difference is it make it considers customized weekend parameters or custom weekend parameters. So what would be the syntax? The syntax would be start date, end date, and then you will see here a weekend, because you can dictate the weekend it has, and then holidays. So again, networkdays.intl returns the number of whole days between two dates with custom weekend parameters. So let me just show you the difference I have here. I have created four scenarios. So here we have no custom weekend and holiday. So we can still do that. Remember, there are optional arguments here. We have the weekend and holiday. So we also have the option of not to include a custom weekend or the holiday. So let's do that. So networkdays.intl, and then the start date followed by the end date, and then I will just close it. So it gave me 98. So um, if you notice, these two formulas are different because the second one has .intl, but it gave the same result. Again, because it assumed, since I did not put any weekend argument, it assumed that the weekend is a Saturday and Sunday, and that there are no holidays. Now, I can also put here a second scenario. This time, I will put a holiday, but I will not put any custom weekend. So that would be networkdays.intl, and then the start date followed by the end date. And then since I will omit, or I will not get a weekend argument, I will just type in another comma and then highlight the holidays. There you go. So it gave me the result 93, which is similar to this one. So similar to the network days that we used. Now this time, just adjust it so that you can see the formula. Now, the next one is we will be making use of a custom weekend, but we won't be taking into consideration the holidays. So how do we do that? We type in networkdays.intl, highlight the start date followed by the end date, and then choose the weekend. Since I mentioned that, let me just go back. Um, in the scenario that we will make, we will choose Wednesday, Thursday as the weekend, and that will give 5 as the argument. So let us just go back and then choose Wednesday and Thursday. So this is the argument. So we just type in 5. And then since there is no holiday, we won't be putting any holiday. You can just close it with a close parenthesis. Now we will have 96 as the net work days. So that's how you compute with a custom weekend parameter. Now this time, the second or the last, the fourth scenario would be making use of Wednesday, Thursday as weekend, and then with holidays. So let's type in networkdays.intl, and then we make use of the start date followed by the end date followed by 5 as our weekend parameter, and then you highlight the holidays. So here we have 91 as network days. So again, where can you use this? When you're trying to plot, or when you want to know the number of days that you went to work, and you want to count those days without, let's say some of the employees now, especially those in the call center industry, will have a work day as their rest day. So this is a way of computing for the net work days of a particular employee. So you can make use of this one. All right. So the next one that we have is a workday. Now this one is the reverse way of computing for a date. If you have a particular number of days in mind, but you want to know what would be the end date, so you don't have the end date yet, because workday returns the serial number of the date before or after a specified number of workdays. So the syntax here would be workday, start date, days, and the argument holidays. So again, I'll be creating two scenarios, one without a holiday and then one with a holiday. Now here I've already put them in a date format, but like what was mentioned earlier, when you do this on your spreadsheet and you have not formatted your cells, it will result to a serial number. So that's what I just did here is already prepared these two cells and put it in a date format. So how do we do this? We do work day, and then the start day would be January 1. And I want to know the days. Let's say I want to know 60 days. 60 days from January 1. What would be the end date? If I want to count the work days only, so this will no longer count the um, the rest days. So let's say I want to put here 60, and then I won't put any holidays. So it will give me the result um, March 25, 2020. Now, doing it without making use of the workday function, we can do that by using, start date and then adding 60, and that would be March 1. But this will not take into consideration the rest days that one has. That's why we should not be just using it this way. So we make use of the workday function. Now, another way of doing it is including the holidays. So here we have what are the holidays that we are expecting between January 1 and then from let's say 60 days. So we are if it ends on March 25, then we are expecting about, one how many, 2 days. So let's see how what this will result to. So let's say workday start date is January 1, and then the number of days would be 60, and then we highlight the holidays and then close parentheses. Okay, so it gave March 26, 2020 as the holiday. So it no longer counted because day one starts, after January 1. So here it just added one more day because we wanted to count 60 days from January 1. So since we already included a holiday and this is the Feb 25 date, so that's why it added one more day. So that's how you get to compute for workday if you do not know what the end date is or when the end date is, but you have a specific number of days in mind. So you just want to count it from a particular start date. Now, the next one is the Workday.intl. So similar to Networkdays.intl, it considers the workdays with custom weekend parameters. So the syntax would be Workday.intl, and it has start date, the number of days, weekend, and holidays as additional or optional argument. So again, it returns the serial number of the date before or after a specified number of work days with custom weekend parameters. So again, I have here 4 scenarios. And let's try the one. Again, this has already been prepared to be in its date format. Now, so what we need here is the custom weekend and holiday. No custom weekend and holiday. So let's type in workday, intl. The start date is January 1. Days would be 60. And then close parentheses. So similar to the one we used earlier for workday, it gave out March 25. Now, there won't be any custom weekend, but there will be a holiday. So let's put here workday.intl. Start date is January 1. Number of days is 60. Weekend would be blank. So there would be 2 commas. Now, for holidays, you just highlight the list. So the date would be March 26, 2020. So when we say no custom weekend, it still has the weekend, but it's considering Saturday and Sunday as the weekend. Now, we're going to make use of the custom weekend, Wednesday, Thursday again. So we type it as workday.intl, and then the start date, and then 60, and then since we're looking for Wednesday, Thursday as the custom weekend parameter, we type in 5, and then we won't be putting any holidays, so we just make use of a close parenthesis. So it now becomes March 24, 2020. Next, we will have Wednesday, Thursday as the rest day, and then we will now include the holidays. So that would be workday.intl, and then the start date, followed by 60 days, followed by 5 as the argument for Wednesday, Thursday, weekend, and then highlight the holidays. So now it becomes March 28, 2020. So that's how we will be computing for the end date. If you have a specific number of days in mind and you just want to make sure you know what the end date is, because sometimes there are projects wherein, or when you provide a service, you tell them that this would be delivered in 3 to 5 business days, or you would tell them that this would be shipped in 15 business days. So you make use of this. You can make use of Workday or Workdays.intl. Now, if you want to get to know the one example here for one usage for Workday.intl would be computing for the maternity leave. So let's say the maternity leave is at 60 days. So like this example here, just start with the first day of the maternity date, and then you enter 60 days, and then you also enter the holidays, and then you put in the custom weekend. Rather, you also include that. So that way you'll be able to know when would be the first day that employee will report back to work. So you can make use of workday.intl. Okay, so we move on to the next function, and this is the Weeknum or week number. It returns the week number in the year. So here, the syntax would be week number and then the serial number and then return type. So again, you don't have to know what the serial number of a date is, because remember, when you format a serial number or a date, when you format into a general or a number format, it will just give you the serial number. So it's okay if it's still in its date format. No need to um, convert it. Now here it says an option argument is the return type. This is because some weeks start on a Sunday, some weeks start on a Monday. So you just need to indicate what day it will start, and that would be the return type. So how do we do that? I have here a sample again. I'll make use of July 5 as our example. So we put here week number. Let's see. Oh, where am I? Yeah, week number. And then we make use of July. And then we put a close parenthesis. So July 25, or sorry, July 5 is considered to be as week 28. So we did not use any return type. Now, if we're going to make use of the return type, let's say it will start on a week starts on a Monday. So you make use of week number, and then you use July 5. And then as return type, you choose Monday. So here, week begins on Monday. That's system one. So there are other options that you have here. A week can start on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, depending on how you will be using it. But normally, we just choose between Sunday or Monday. So let's say we want Monday to be the start of the week. So we put there 2 and then enter. So July 5 now becomes week 27 because July 5 is a Sunday and week 28 will start Monday after. So if this becomes July 6, so let's put here July 6. If I use this one, week number July 6 and then put in 2, it will give me 28. But since we are using July 5, which is a Sunday, it will give us week 27. I hope that's clear. All right, and then the last function that we will be discussing under time and date would be the Eomonth, and Eomonth has a syntax of Eomonth and then open parenthesis start date and then the number of months. It returns the serial number of the last day of the month before or after a specified number of months. So here you want to know what is the end of month date. So let us use that formula. It's Eomonth, and then the start date we can enter it as how can we use it? So let's say January 15, 2020, and I want to know the date, the end of the month date, 3 months from January 15. So I'll put there 3. So that becomes April 30, 2020. Now, what if I want to get the end of date 3 months from, let's say, July 5? Okay, so here, let's put Eomonth. Start date would be July 5. And then 3 months from that date, what would be the end date? That would be October 31, 2020. Okay, so that is going to be the end date. Okay, let me just change it so that we can I'll change it to January 1 so that I can show you the next scenario. Let me just change it. Start date should be January 1, and then 3 months after, that's going to be April. So end of month. So from January, you count 3 months from January. That's going to be Feb, March, April, and then the end of month date would be April 30. Now, what if I want to do a reverse count? Let's say I want to know 3 months prior. Can I still do that using end of month? Yes, you can. So how do you do that? So you just type in end of month, go to the start date, and then instead of typing 3 months, you put in -3 because you want to do a reverse count. So that would be -3. So putting in -3 will give you October. Why? Because what were the months, 3 months prior to January? That is December, November, and then October. So October would be the 3rd month prior to January. And what would be the end of month date for October? That is October 31, 2019. All right, so those are the those are the functions that we have discussed under time and date. So we have today, now, date, date value, network days, networkdays.intl, workday, workday.intl, weeknum or week number, and Eomonth. So those are the functions for time and date.
Thank you so much for watching and staying at the end of this video. And thank you also for letting us share our milestone of being up for 1 year in Facebook and YouTube. This free tutorial will be available for a short period, so don't hesitate to let your friends and family know about it. By the way, we have started with our online classes once again. If you're interested to know more about the features, functions, and tricks inside MS Excel, you may enroll in any of our classes by registering in our link tiny.cc/letstalk. You will receive an email as soon as you have signed up through that link, and it will contain the topics to be discussed in training as well as the schedules and rates. Thank you for being part of Let's Talk Success, and we hope to see you soon.